director. Dalek's master plan, on the other hand, is Doug Camfield, and that's what sets it apart. I don't know if the script is actually that much better than The Keys of Marinus or The Chase, but it's so much better remembered for what Doug Camfield brought to it.
No, well done.
And I should also point out, Terry Nation really didn't write an awful lot of it. I think it was mostly people like Dennis Spooner and even Donald Tosh who were doing a lot of the writing on it. Hence the appearance of the Time Meddler, the Meddling Monk.
Right, you ready?
Okay, no.
For another minute, you will have to talk about Underworld.
Oh, do you know what? Underworld is not as bad as its reputation would suggest.
Yes, it is.
The first episode, in fact, is a really good first episode. It's one of the best first episodes of that season. It's got all that stuff with the minions on the spaceship, and there's some actually quite nice special effects in that first episode. After that, it's not as bad as you think it is. It's a Bob Baker and a Dave Martin script. And Bob Baker and Dave Martin, for all that we think of Underworld as being really dull and boring, Bob Baker and Dave Martin usually come up with some pretty interesting stuff. And they do in Underworld as well. What we don't forgive it for is the lack of budget to film it properly. So we think of it as a lot duller than it is because of a lot of it looks quite samey. But actually, when you look at the robots and the quest element, the whole Jason and the Argonauts sort of element of it, it's actually got just as much Doctor Who-ness in it as any of the other stories in that season, and it's really not that bad. How many more have we got?
How long can we keep recording for?
I think another. I'm running for cover after this one.
Oh God,
I've seen this one.
Do you know, you threw Scream of the Shalka at me and I managed to at least talk for a minute. And about a minute and a half. You just didn't.
Go on, Simon.
Talk for a minute on dimensions in time.
Oh, that's not so bad. Again, that's outside the rules. Dimensions in Time, I will forgive it anything because A, it wasn't supposed to be proper Doctor Who, B, it was for charity, and C, it had all the actors in it that you would want to be in it. If it didn't make any sense, well, so what? Was it really funny since it was, you know, supposed to be ostensibly a comedy? Well, no, it wasn't really funny either, but there were some, you know, comedy moments in bits of it that probably weren't supposed to be funny. Does it work? No, it doesn't. Is it amusing to see the different doctors and companions with the people from EastEnders? Yes, actually it is. And for, you know, 12 minutes or whatever it was for comic relief, or what's the other charity? Whatever charity it was for, Children in Need. I think it was comic relief. You know, for 12 minutes of that, I'm prepared to forgive it anything. People who moan about Dimensions in Time, just think of the money it was making for charity.
And no mention of Big Ron anyway. Disgraceful.
Finn, come on. Shake it up, baby. Shake it
Have you
up.
tried to come up with something difficult for me?
No.
Okay.
Oh,
School reunion.
Oh, how lovely a school reunion. Toby Whithouse. Toby Whithouse writes brilliant characters, not always good with the science fiction, but always brilliant with the characters. And the relationship between Liz Sladen, David Tennant, Billy Piper, and even Noel Clarke in that is absolutely fantastic. And, you know, Toby Whithouse does an absolutely stand-up job on that. And the science fiction in that one's actually quite interesting as well. The whole search for the sort of God paradigm, the God, you know, equation, sorry. Yeah. That's a really interesting idea, and one that could have sustained an entire series. That could have been a series arc across an entire series, and I would have gone for that. So that kind of felt thrown away. School Reunion suffers a bit because it was the only time they tried to film 3 big episodes in a single production block, and the director just ran out of money, ran out of time. They had to make lots of compromises, so it doesn't look as good as it perhaps ought to have, but as a script and as a story, it's wonderful.
you're doing rather well at this. This is a bit too good. I'm going to treat you.
This is going on for longer than I thought it would.
Yeah,
actually.
I'm going to treat you. I'm going to give you a little bit of. Do you like Marmite?
How long have we been going, actually? This was supposed to be a 10-minute...
About 20 minutes.
Just 28 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is nearly half an hour.
Yeah.
All right.
No, a nice one for you, because I'm sure you'll appreciate this. The Reign of Terror.
Oh, I do love the Reign of Terror, and I'm so looking forward to this animated version that's going to be coming out. It's Dennis Spooner, and it's Dennis Spooner's first Doctor Who. And the early historicals were a bit dry and dusty, and as much as I like the Aztecs, and as much as I probably would like Marco Polo, you know, something about stories that don't have much humour, and when I say humour or wit, I don't always necessarily mean make you laugh kind of funny. I mean the kind of humanity. The Aztecs is a bit dry. It's lovely script, but not much humanity. Whereas the Reign of Terror, Dennis Spooner, all of a sudden you've still got lots of the nice sort of kind of old-timey stuff that the BBC does really well, but you've suddenly got a sense of humour and characters that you can actually believe in as people. And I think that's a huge change, a huge sea change for Doctor Who. One that we really start to see coming in more and more during the following months, but that you can trace back to the Reign of Terror. I think it's a big it's a big story in the unfolding drama of Doctor Who.
Beautifully done.
Yeah, I'll make this my last one now, because we've taken this a bit longer than we probably should have. But
Yeah, we did say 15 or 20 minutes.
It's fun to put you on the spot, though.
Okay.
Okay. Right, your final one from me is The Smugglers.
Oh, see, 2 black and white Hartnell historicals in a row. The Smugglers, I just remember at the time I read the Target novelisation by Terence Dicks, I hadn't enjoyed a Terence Dicks book for a long time, because all his early ones were the good ones, and the ones after that were just, you know, the script with he said, she said written in them. And The Smugglers probably is precious little more than that. But I remember sitting down with a Smugglers book on a Saturday morning at home, thinking, oh, I'll read a chapter and see how it goes. And I didn't put it down. You know, an hour and 15 minutes later, I'd finished the book and loved every page. Then a friend of mine made a very simple telesnap recon where it was literally just the narrated soundtrack and photographs. And although I didn't enjoy that as much as the book, because all of a sudden with the soundtrack and the pictures you start to see where the holes are and you start to see what the failings of the story are, but I still really enjoyed it. And to this day, when people ask me what story I'd most like to see recovered, what story I'd most like to see found, The Smugglers is the one I name. For a completely missing story, you know, that's the one, the completely missing story I'd most like to see found. Simon, last one from you.
Oh, am I doing another one?
Yeah, but please don't make it one that doesn't actually exist.
The only other one I had down was Dreamland.
Oh, well, we've done the Infinite Quest.
I know, that's why.
And we talked about Dreamland before. I actually really like Dreamland. Phil Ford, who wrote The Waters and Mars, wrote Dreamland, right? And like I said about The Waters and Mars, first 40 minutes, the Phil Ford stuff, great. Last 20 minutes, the Russell T Davies stuff, not good. Dreamland's all Phil Ford. And, you know, it's a little bit like, I guess, in sort of the audience it's aimed for, I guess, is the same audience as the Sarah Jane Adventures. It's not really for the adult Doctor Who fans. It's just fun with big bugs in the desert and, you know, men in black running around the desert. Doctor gets involved. It's just crazy, zany, snappy fun. I don't think this suffers as badly as Infinite Quest does from being amalgamated from the smaller episodes, because the smaller episodes in this instance were like 6 minutes long, so it wasn't quite as bitty as that, and actually it just formed a nice story that I just really enjoyed. And the animation that you, Simon, I know hated, that sort of over stylisedness, I just found really suited it. I liked it.
Right, Finn.
Your last one, Finn, make it a bad one.
Curse of the Black Spot.
He said make it a bad one.
Actually, we talked about Curse of the Black Spot not even a week ago.
Curse of the crap script, more like.
No, you know, most people came into Curse of the Black Spot expecting it to be a big pirate spectacular, but I knew where in the season it was coming, and I knew how much money they hadn't been able to spend on it. So I wasn't expecting that much sort of sword fighting action and all this kind of thing. I knew pretty much at the start that it was going to be, you know, a few pirates on the deck at the start of the episode, and then it would be something else. And so actually, when you got to the end, when you found out what was going on, you had that whole Star Trek 10-minute sequence at the end, I was actually really pleasantly surprised by that, because that took the story further than I'd expected it to go, rather than less far, which is what everybody else seemed to get from it. So actually, I found Curse of the Black Spot a perfectly acceptable, entertaining 45 minutes of Doctor Who, and I rather enjoyed it. I'm not ever going to say it's one of my favourite stories, but, you know, I'm not ever going to say it's rubbish either.
Right, okay, so
And this is the very last one.
I'm
now.
doing the very last one, okay? You have to look directly into the camera for this one, JR. Okay?
Do I?
Yeah, so you're addressing the audience directly, you know, so they can feel your
Pain.
love for whatever it is you're about to pick. Because...
It's the talents of Wang Chiang.
No! we haven't done Sylvester McCoy, I don't think, throughout, so I thought you could choose one of the Sylvester McCoys yourself and wax lyrical about that.
Oh, I don't know whether to bless you or not. Right, randomly choose a Sylvester McCoy. I'll pick the most difficult one, Time in the Rani. Time in the Rani is completely between two stools of the programme. Now, famously, most people think of it as a Colin Baker script that's written for a Doctor who's yet to be named, partly because it's Pip and Jane Baker, who had otherwise, apart from that, only written Colin Baker. They didn't write a Colin Baker story, they just wrote a generic Doctor Who. It's got, you know, a big alien brain in a room, it's got a plot to steal historical figures out of time, and it's got, can't remember the actress's name, playing the Rani, Kate O'Mara, pretending to be Bonnie Langford. It's brilliant. I know Time in the Rani's not brilliant, right? But having said that, every time I put it on, I find I enjoy it so much more than I expect to, that I'm not ever going to say it's as bad as its reputation would suggest. And, you know, the whole plot to steal famous people, famous scientists throughout time, for the big brain in the back room. What more can you ask for? This is what I was hoping Twin Dilemma would be.
Round of applause!
Well done.
Oh my god, it usually takes about 2 hours to upload the 10-minute podcast to YouTube. This one's going to take about 7 hours.
You're joking, aren't you?
No, I don't know if it's my broadband or what, but it takes an hour and 50 minutes to upload 10 minutes to YouTube.
Right, so that was the Blue Box Confidential special, the on the spot for 60 seconds only for half an hour with JR. So thanks for tuning in to this YouTube channel, and we're all going to blow you a kiss.
I'm not doing it either.
Finn just thinks you're being ridiculous.
Can I take mine back now? That's better.